I love Mountain Dew. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's an addiction. I need to kick it. Oh, God, I need to be outside. What's up, everybody? Ian here, and today I'm going to do a little review on the Truefire Synapse hand release. So the Truefire Synapse hand release is a thumb activated, it's a thumb activated release, or a thumb trigger, if you will. So basically, when you go to pull back, the only way this thing's going to fire, it's not like a back tension release where it's going to be activated by the resistance or the tension that you actually have, or a rotation that pulls like a sear, like a hinge, or just a straight up resistance release. It can only be fired when it's actually the tension's pulled back on here on your thumb. But what's cool is you can actually use a back tension style of terms of like the actual release, where you can actually just pull like a back tension pull to actually activate this release. So that's why it's really good to have this release, and you can train to use this release with a resistance release or a hinge release, and all the same concepts, as long as you're consistent, can apply back and forth between the two. Now, the Truefire Synapse release, it's a heavy release. It's got like a nice metal frame. It's got teeth. This is right now in the 3-finger configuration because I don't have the biggest of hands. I'm not going to say I have tiny hands. Hey, you know what they say about a guy with small hands? Ha 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 ha. I need to just shut up. But this is in the 3-finger configuration. It does come with the option with an additional piece. There's a set screw that's on the back here. There's a couple screws you have to remove in order to actually attach one that'll make it a 4-finger release. It actually adds just that extra bit, so you can have your pinky involved as well. And you can change the adjustment or the angle of this, that piece as well, just to kind of fit your hand and what's comfortable to you and how that's going to work with your release style. The thumb stud itself is actually adjustable in terms of position. There's a little bit of like a groove right here. You just unscrew these 2 set screws, or just one of the set screws, loosen them up just a bit, and you can actually slide that either backwards, forwards. You can actually bring in the actual shaft, the bar right here that the thumb stud is actually attached to. You can actually bring that down and closer to the release as well as the travel of the release, so how much it's actually going to move, and the tension or the amount of pressure it's going to require for you to actually pull and actually set that release off. Now, I have this warning. This release is pretty sensitive, especially if you're used to like a resistance release or index finger release, which is what I shot all my years growing up until this past year when I switched over to using a handheld release. It's a very light trigger in terms of tension. I had this all the way down to like the heaviest it will go. Still took me some getting used to for this thing to go off. But you can make it lighter, heavier. I just happen to have it on the heaviest setting because I like being able to have my thumb actually rest on there as part of my whole shot process of getting nice and set, and then actually being able to rest it there and then go through and pull, and actually kind of forces me to have to do that. So if you're looking to get into using a handheld release, one of the first things I'm going to tell you right now is that you have to be okay that you're going to see a decrease in performance versus using an index finger release or anything like that, and some really inconsistency points for a while, unless you have a kisser button or anything like that. But this might change a little bit too when you switch over to using a hand release, because where that sits on your face is going to be a little different, and you have to actually kind of find that. So if you have a kisser button, that's going to help a lot. Or if you have like bow hunting has this cool little thing where it's actually a nose button. So not necessarily a kisser button, but a nose button. So where he anchors and he actually looks down and he can actually find that button on his nose. So it's part of that points of contact and part of his how he anchors himself when he goes to shoot. With me, I don't have a kisser button or a nose button. My nose actually can't touch that string, otherwise I'm going to be like, whoa, that was a little dramatic. But I really actually can't, otherwise my chin's going to be down. I can actually just bring it down just enough and acquire the peep with the anchoring setup that I have, and I shoot pretty well with that. But basically what I do is, I've seen a couple different people use hand releases where they keep it like parallel with your face, versus or like your hand actually flat like this, versus actually rotating it up and having it flush with your face. So that way it's nice, streamlined, nice lines going all the way across, and then you can actually just go and pull. But to each their own. Along with that, some people actually go and they'll actually just squeeze it, and then they'll set it off. Which is another way, actually, when I first started using this release, that's what I used. But I wanted to use this back tension release to get that surprise, because I found that that's way more accurate. And it kind of slows things down for me when we actually go through the process. But I'm not going to go into too in depth with that. But just be prepared with any hand release that you use that you're going to see a little bit of a decrease in performance for at least a little bit. Just because you got to figure out that hand position, being consistent with that hand position, the types of tension that you go, and then actually releasing, setting off the release itself. So, a couple little quick things about operation of this. If you want, like when you're getting ready to go and you want to hook this up to your D-loop, there's a button right here on the back. This little kind of serrated little shredder looking button. Push that down. You can push that down and that's going to create a lock, but I like to keep the jaw open right here. There's a little bit of a ridge. I pull that open, push that down, push it onto the D-loop, close it. It won't move anymore. So it's locked, ready to go. Locked, rocked, cocked, locked, ready to rock. So now you got that. When I go to draw back, I don't have my thumb anywhere near that stud at all. Actually, I make like a fist and I actually just pull back with these 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3. Pull back, turn, anchor, acquire the peep, rest my thumb, then settle, 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 and then pull, 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 and then boom. You can also change the angle of the thumb stud too, so it can either be perfectly flat like that, angle forward, angle back. I like mine just so I can actually get, like, one of the ways I was trying to do it was to actually have my pointer finger and my thumb actually touch, and that made it really easy. Plus, if you look, my thumb fits right within those 2 grooves there, so the thumb stud is actually right on my thumb. It's not off-centered, off-kiltered, just a little bit, and that little extra edge when I come down and condense down actually gives me a little bit more when I go to actually pull. It's more solid, there's more contact with my thumb. Yeah. So this release, $200. You don't have to get this exact release, but I like it. It's a good release. It's a heavy release. You definitely will feel it in whatever pocket that it's in. I have yet to have this thing fail. The amount of adjustability that you can do with this, actually there's a lot of it, so you can really fine tune and find that sweet spot that works for you. That can be a little daunting at times, just because when you've never used a hand release before, this probably isn't the release I actually recommend, like beginners to hand releases actually just get, and you want to use the thumb activate did one, especially when you're just trying to figure out how to use a hand release. Pros, it works fine. No, it's heavy, it's durable, it's well made, no fails, no misfires, anything like that. I've used it, shot it a bunch of times, at least approaching over 1,000 shots now, actually using this release, over months and months and months and months of using it. The one thing I do wish it had, it was able to have that tension to set it off be a little heavier. Just because then it actually forces you to actually have to pull back, especially if you're using that back tension, coming back, and basically all you're focused about is that pinky finger, and you're trying to make your shoulder blades touch. I want to be able to get through that process or start to get into it without having to just go like right in like the initial part of it, go bang, oh there it goes. Which is, I guess, good because you get a surprise, but I want to be able to have just a little bit more, so I'm further depth into my cycle of that before it fires. That's pretty much it. Oh, the cost is pretty high. If you haven't noticed yet, I like to buy some expensive stuff just to try it. I'm a little crazy. Overall, nice release, pretty release. If you go to LancasterArchery.com, it comes in different colors, green, orange, red. This is like a silver, blue. So just take a look at LancasterArchery.com or anywhere the Truefire Synapses are sold, and you can actually get it in different colors. Yeah, pretty solid hand release. So, I hope you found this review / tutorial, if you will, to be insightful, helpful, any kind of way, especially if you're looking into getting the market or switching over to using a hand release. And if you haven't yet, please hit that red subscribe button below and hit that bell, turn on the notifications on so you can see when we post videos up. And in the description of the video below is a link to our Teespring store where you can buy some merch and rep your 585 pride. You can buy hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, stuff for the kids, various colors, everything else. That would be greatly appreciated from you guys if you check that out, bought one or two things, so that way it would help us be able to bring quality content, or at least our journey, to you guys via this channel. So with that, I'm Ian, and that was the Truefire Synapse review/tutorial. See you on the next one, guys.